Good evening. I love coming to London, eh? So many places to park. Wonderful. Luton, Dunstable, the M25. Mind you, it's the same almost everywhere in the country. Traffic's getting slower, and yet the manufacturers are developing cars that go faster and faster. It's getting nonsense. What caught my eye recently was the new car from Vauxhall, eh? The Lotus Carlton. Do you read about that? This is a four-door family saloon that goes at over 175 miles an hour. Can you believe that? A family saloon. Who's the family? Mr. and Mrs. Fittipaldi. This car comes complete with a driver's ejector seat and a portaloo for the passenger. Do Vauxhall know what they're unleashing here? Don't they realise that in 10 years' time, these cars are going to end up in the hands of minicab drivers? I mean, now, you know, these guys are all ex-Islamic fundamentalists who were thrown out because they were too psychotic. I mean, they can get a Hillman Minx to do 110 mile an hour in reverse. What they'll do with these is anyone's guess. I mean, and who wants to travel home at 200 miles an hour? Other than Princess Anne. I mean, I remember when Vauxhall used to make cars that people laughed at. Remember the Vauxhall Velox? Remember that, eh? What a heap that was. I mean, they were always advertised in the second-hand car columns as one careful owner. Because once you'd bought one, you could never get rid of the damn thing. Car salesmen used to turn the clock forward 5,000 miles to try and pretend it could go that far. The police loved them. I mean, if they were used as a getaway car, all the coppers had to do was sort of stroll across the road, wait for the car to come along, open the back door and hop in. They're going to feature a Vauxhall Velox in the new James Bond film. It's got this device that spews out oil at 12 gallons per minute from the exhaust. It's called the ignition. I see Skoda have got a new car out. It's a two-seater sports convertible. The first car in history where the driver's got a soft top. And what are these space wagons all about? You know, people carriers. It's amazing, I mean, what a name change will do. I mean, basically, they're transits with a bit of carpeting. You know, we'd call them the Espace or the Range Cruiser, and suddenly they're chic. I mean, even Birmingham City Football Club's bought one. Just to take the crowd home at the end of the game. I thought you'd laugh at that one. The majority of these people carriers are sold to Catholic families to carry all the kids in. It's true, that's why when you open the glove compartment, there's a pop-up shrine of the Virgin Mary. And they've got 24 sets of rosary beads, cunningly disguised as a car seat cover. Even the windscreen wipers genuflection. It's amazing what you can buy for cars now. I've got a portable phone that's so compact I can carry it around in my trouser pocket. And what happens is, to save sort of, you know, people's annoyance, you know, when someone's trying to get through, instead of a bleep tone, it vibrates like hell. It's terrible, I keep phoning myself up. Now, I don't know whether you'll associate with this, but I've got one of those cars that police just love, right? It's not a flash car, it's taxed, everything works, but they will not leave me alone. They're forever picking on me. Maybe it's the sticker in the back window. Policemen do it in their helmets. No, that can't be the reason. They'd never read that the speed I go at. And the way they catch you for speeding these days is that radar gun. You know, it's really scary. Some pimply-faced bobby hiding behind a lamppost and sneaking out and going... OK, make my day, punk. And they always ask the same stupid questions, you know. It's so hard to keep your trap shut when you're getting the third degree for some 19-year-old piglet. Is this your car, sir? No, Lord Lucan's. Did you know what speed you were doing? Sorry, I was asleep. Oh, comedian, eh? Well, yes, actually. But it's no use being clever with policemen. They've heard it all before, including the classic from the bloke who's driving with a crate of scotch in his bloodstream. You know, 2 cyclists and a lollipop lady wrapped round the front bumper. And he says to the copper, "Why aren't you out catching real criminals?" Mind you, you've got to be mental to drink and drive these days. Do you know what the latest proposals are for punishing drink drivers? I'll tell you. If you're caught, you'll get a £1,000 fine. You'll have to take your test again and up to 10 years in prison. Can you believe that? Having to take your test again? I'd never pass that now. I mean, I've picked up too many bad habits, you know. I mean, can you imagine taking another test? Right, Mr. Carrott, would you mind reading the number plate on that car? What car? You'd be there, you know, driving along, one arm leaning out the window as you know, bawling at everybody on the road, you know. Oi! Oi, fart face! Who do you think I am, Doris Stokes? Same to you, pal. Don't worry, I'll have him at the next roundabout. Put some music. I had a Status Quo cassette somewhere. Here, pass us one of them lagers. This is thirsty work. And at the end you say, "Did I pass?" And he goes, "Yes, 3 police cars, a Ferrari and the sound barrier." But it has to be said, cars are getting safer these days. And the latest contraption you can have fitted is an airbag, right? And this is a device that when you have an accident, a great big air balloon shoots out of the steering wheel, right, to cushion the impact against you impaling yourself on the steering column. And of course the thought came into my mind is that, well, that's all very well, but supposing it goes off by accident. Suddenly you're travelling 70 miles an hour down the motorway, trying to steer it with half a Zeppelin in your face. Despite that, I'm going to have one installed. But instead of a shapeless airbag, I'm going to fit a blow-up doll instead. It might not be as safe, but at least when I go, I'm going to go with a smile on my face. Well, for me, you know, there's nothing like it. The atmosphere, the atmosphere. I mean, I've got 2 brothers. One's a pilot with Airfix, and the other one's a raw plug. Good luck to them. They're very happy, but at the end of the day, I only ever wanted to do one thing, and that's score goals. I've been very lucky, really. I mean, I'm signed to a good club, there's a great team spirit, and all the lads are really well painted and that. It's a tough game. Quite recently, I picked up a bit of a niggly injury. In fact, the Alsatian trod on me and my head snapped up. Obviously, it's one of those games where you do tend to get pushed around a bit, but, you know, if you get knocked down, you've just got to bounce back again. After a hard match, the lads all like to let off a bit of steam, you know, with a few lagers at my local club. Sometimes really get out of our box. That's our goalkeeper. He's a real one for the ladies. Hey, he's always getting picked up by the girls' ears. But I'm just using him because of who he is like. My wife, Michelle, is brilliant and really understands the sort of pressure I'm sort of, you know, under. We both like to have kids, really, but unfortunately we've got a bit of a sort of a problem where that's concerned. It's not a big thing. That's the whole problem. That's football, isn't it, you know?
Well, now, lads, as you know, we're expecting a visit from His Holiness the Pope. It's our job to make sure he isn't bumped off while he's on our manor. Now, are there any Catholics amongst you?
Sir.
Good work, Louis. Perhaps you can tell us what this Pope fella looks like.
And he wears a sort of white beret and a dress. And he kisses runways, sir.
You all got that?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now, His Holiness has visited cities all over the world without getting bumped off. And I don't want you lot letting me down and dropping me in it with the super. So remember, no dead pontiffs on my manor.
Something beginning with TP.
The Pope. It was. You've just changed it because I got it too quick.
Oh, didn't? Have another guess.
Telegraph pole.
Nope.
That pigeon.
Wrong.
Tons of policemen.
Shall I tell you?
Go on then.
Teapot.
What's your teapot? Where?
Over there in the house.
Where there?
That house over there. You can, if you look through your binocular.
You've got the same wallpaper as that bloke. He's got one of the new cordless kettles as well.
It's not cordless.
It's cordless.
Oh, it isn't.
Anyway, you're a midget now.
Don't be so childish. We've got a job to do. You've got to be eternally vigilant, like coiled springs. Alert to every tiny sound, every minute movement. We got to be like animals of the night. Muscles tightly bunched in anticipation. Reflexes finely honed by years of specialist training. We've got to see everything. We've got to hear it.
Love letters straight from your heart.
Bye, Mr. Taylor. Take care now.
Keep us so near.
Morning, Mrs. Dale.
While apart.
Morning, Sam. Morning, John.
I'm not alone in the night.
Morning, Fred.
Mrs. Jarvis.
When I can have all the love you write. I memorize every line.
I went to a dinner party last week where the husband is a home video freak. And as we arrived, he was filming everybody with his new toy. It was a compact video camera the size of a paracetamol. Now, nobody ever feels comfortable when you point a camera at them. No matter how energetic the party, as soon as someone turns a camera on, it's Madame Tussauds. Hey, and the bloke going, go on, move around a bit. Well, I couldn't believe it. This bloke was filming everything all night. And he'd left jolly little japes on the dinner table, you know, like plastic beetles in your soup and 2 profiteroles and a banana made into an erotic shape, you know. And then at the end of the evening, we had to sit and watch the video he'd made of us over the last 4 hours. And he videoed us watching it. And then we had to watch that. And as we were watching, I thought, he's videoing this. And I turned around and sure enough, there he was. It was him videoing us, watching the video of him videoing us, watching his video of us. I think. A friend told me earlier in the week a lovely story. Supposedly true, although it could be apocryphal, you know. It's about this bloke who bought a home video camera so he could film himself and his missus, you know, making whoopee. You know, imagine the two of them in bed. And... Anyway, for a joke, he labelled the finished cassette Last Tango in Paris, right, and put it away. A couple of weeks later, him and the missus, right, settled down in bed to watch the cassette prior to whatever they were going to do. And lo and behold, they found themselves watching a video of Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck. What had happened was, their kids had hired this cartoon from the local video hire shop. You way ahead, huh? And somehow or other, the cassettes had got mixed up, and the kids had taken Last Tango in Paris back to the shop. It was the most popular video this bloke had had in years. It finally dawned on these people why they were getting all these strange looks in the village, you know, and why all his mates had called the husband Marlon. Anyway, talking about videos, over the weekend, I watched the video of Star Trek IV, The Journey Home. Have you seen that? I couldn't believe how old everybody was. I mean, they were moving round on strings, weren't they? I mean, the Starship Enterprise had suddenly become this giant intergalactic bath chair. Captain Kirk had a death aid. And Dr. McCoy, he looked exactly like Mother Teresa. I mean, like, I just couldn't believe how old he was. And Mr. Spock, his skin was so wrinkled, it looked as if he was wearing Pavarotti's wetsuit. And in this film, they had to hire a nurse to get rid of the Klingons. Oh, found the level, and the film was so mawkish. I mean, the whole crew were this sincere, caring, sharing, non-sexist, racially integrated bunch of do-gooders who were on a mission to save a one-parent homeless whale. I could have called the film Lambeth Council in Space. By the way, if you have a BSB satellite dish and you're watching, good evening, Mr. Johnson. Takes the time, are you there? Did you know BSB are running the whole Doctor Who series from show 1? Did you know that? And recently they had a whole weekend completely devoted, apart from the adverts, to nothing but the best bits from all the programmes. Incredible, huh? 47.5 hours of adverts. You can imagine in a few years' time all those old pot-boiler programmes are going to achieve cult status. I mean, look at the Carry On films. Nowadays, it's like, it's right on to watch them. It's okay, hey, they are class. Oh, really? I mean, did anybody ever actually see one of these films in a cinema? Oh, well, that's how old you are. Carry On Up the Khyber has now become a cult film. Barbara Windsor's tits are part of our national heritage. This whole cult business is very strange, don't you think? Why is it that American cult figures seem so much more exciting than ours? You know, I mean, Marilyn Monroe, James Dean, Humphrey Bogart. Who have we got? George Formby and Margaret Rutherford. I mean, you can just see George Formby in Rebel Without a Cause, can't you? Turned out nice again, hasn't it? The thing is, to be a true cult figure, you have to have led a really bizarre private life. I mean, take Elvis Presley. I mean, this man is now regarded as the patron saint of hamburger abuse. I mean, he invented the I scream your weight machine. But it doesn't matter, his followers won't have a word said against him. I mean, they're fanatical. They changed their names by deed poll to Elvis Presley. It's remarkable. They won't even accept that he's dead. They have to keep reading the Sunday Sport to find out what planet he's living on. And you daren't criticise Elvis. I mean, the last time I did an Elvis routine, I got all these anonymous death threats. Well, most of them were anonymous. A couple of them did leave their name, you know. Elvis. Of course, there are one or two people who have called me a cult. You're getting out of order now. Although I've got a bit of a way to go yet to achieve that status. I mean, for a start, you've got to be dead. I mean, you can't be a cult by claiming you've got a squash injury, can you? And with my past, what the hell will I be remembered for? I can see the headlines now. Funky moped man dies. And what happens after that? Well, it'll be time to meet my maker. Now, that's going to be interesting, isn't it? I mean, what would you say? What would you say if you came face to face with God? What would you say to him? Well, he doesn't have to be a man, you know. I mean, I've suspected for some time that might be the case. I mean, if God was a man, he would never have put testicles on the outside. And how come if God's a man, how come it's only women that get multiple orgasms? Most unfair. Mind you, ladies, how you can take 2 of those on the trot without your head coming off is beyond me.
I haven't seen you since the Rotary. How's your lovely wife?
Lovely. How's your lovely wife?
She's lovely too.
Lovely.
So, off to Le Continent? Eh?
Yes, motoring holiday in France, yes. Full AA cover, naturally. I mean, you can't trust the garages, can they? Oh dear, no. I mean, they take one look at your car, give you some load of gibberish you can't make head or tail off, rip you off as soon as look at you.
And it's the same on the continent, is it?
Yes.
I must say, these Channel ferries are marvellous, aren't they?
Marvellous, yes.
Have you been seasick at all?
No, dear me, no. We British are a seafaring nation, old man. Oh, yes, you didn't catch the Francis Drake going green after too much duty-free. No. Before Trafalgar, Lord Nelson didn't send a signal saying England expects every man to eat a sea-link pork pie and puke up over the side. No.
Have you been seasick?
Yes, 4 times.
Yes, I've been down to the bar to settle my stomach.
Oh, yeah.
They're serving a new Euro cocktail, you know. An ingredient from each European country.
Yeah.
Yes, a measure of Irish whiskey, half a pint of Newcastle brown ale, ouzo, 2 measures of sangria, creme de menthe, a litre of leaf-frog milk, dash of Angostura, grated parmesan, sauerkraut, and a snail on a stick.
So have you been seasick at all?
Yes, 6 times.
I may try one of those cocktails.
Well, you can have mine if you like. It's in here. Still, we're all supposed to be Europeans now, aren't we?
Yes, 1992 and all that.
Do you know what I want to know about all that 1992 business? When is it happening?
Well, yes, exactly. I mean, they're in no hurry to tell you, are they? They're in no hurry at all. All I know is that from 1992, there's going to be a single market in Europe. Yes, apparently it's going to be in Amsterdam every Wednesday afternoon.
That's a long way to go for your vegetables.
Absolutely.
Yes. Of course, the thing about the European community is that everybody thinks it's really dull and boring, whereas if you take the time to look at it closely, you'll find that in actual fact, it really is dull and boring.
Yes, I long for the time when the nearest you had to come to European unity was having to sit through Je Sans Frontières.
Yes, I remember her.
Yes. What a strange programme that was, eh? Someone somewhere obviously thought that the sight of fat Belgians dressed as chickens pouring colour water into buckets would be a major boost to international unity. I've never seen it.
Yes. Mind you, look at what old Nicholas Ridley said about the Germans,
Well,
eh?
that was disgraceful.
Terrible, undiplomatic.
Yes, downright rude, I call it.
He was right, though.
He was absolutely right.
I mean, they always underestimate us, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
Foreigners, they think we're so uncultured. I mean, everybody goes on and on about what a cultured place Italy is. But what have they given the world, eh? Black Box, Joe Dolce and the Cornetto.
And what have we given the world, eh? Shakespeare, Dickens, Gaza.
Mind you, they've done some marvellous stuff, you know, the Italians.
Oh, yes.
Oh, Michelangelo, when he painted the roof of the
Listerine Chapel. Mind you, the French are worse, you know. Oh, dear, the French are worse. Last year, we were on holiday, we were driving down through Normandy, when Marjorie made the mistake of putting on her lamb's wool cardigan. Oh, dear. Some French farmers stopped the car. Got her out, skinned her, chucked her on a bonfire.
complaint to the holiday program.
Well, absolutely, yes.
You know, they'll do anything to keep our meat out, you know.
Yes.
They claim our cattle is riddled with mad cow disease. But there's no connection between your mental state and what you taste like.
Oh.
I knew a cow once used to put on a party dress and dance the lambada. One of the best pot roasts I ever had. Yes, mind you, we've got plenty to offer Europe, you know.
I agree.
They may have their boulangeries and their patisseries, but you try finding a branch of Halfords.
You can't, can you?
Yes. And a Bry nylon car blanket for love nor money.
I'm absolutely determined that my children are going to grow up as good Europeans. My eldest, I've made sure he's learning French, German, Spanish, and Italian.
How old is he?
18 months now.
You know they'll never really be united until they finish the Channel Tunnel.
Yes, now what of course I cannot understand about that is how on earth we ever persuaded the French to build a tunnel with us in the first place. I mean, look at our record on underground railway systems. I mean, what are they going to do if the two halves of the Channel Tunnel don't meet in the middle on time, eh? Install little loudspeakers that say, "Mind the gap."
Today we take a close look at the exciting life of the store detective. A good store detective could pop up absolutely anywhere. And for the undercover store detective, certain special crime-detecting devices are essential. Once a crime has been detected, it is vital that the store detective does not take his eyes off the suspect for even a second. Does the shrewd detective still have his suspect in sight? Christmas is the busiest time of the year for the shoplifter. Extra vigilance is vital. The store detective must be every bit as cunning and resourceful as his prey, if he is to counteract the seasonal surge in larceny. Fortunately, store detectives can call upon a highly sophisticated electronic intelligence network which supports the man in the field.
Oh dear, they seem to have arrested the wrong reindeer, dear.
Well, you shake my nerves and you rattle my brain. Too much love makes a man insane. You broke my will. What a thrill! Goodness gracious, great balls of fire!